Meth, manufactured in backyard labs and basements across Spokane County. Around the year 2000, law enforcement teams busted hundreds of homes every year with fully operating meth labs inside. Chemicals so dangerous, police couldn't go without first suiting up. Well, they don't see many of those labs anymore, but in tonight's KXOI4 special report, our Melissa Luck is live to show us just how the problem may have lingering effects even in your home. Melissa?
Yeah, Nadine, this home here on East 8th is one example of a home so contaminated by meth, it's been shut down by order of the health district until someone can come and clean it up. But most meth homes in our community are not this obvious, and it could mean dangers lurking in unexpected places.
Lab in the trailer in the back.
We found an active methamphetamine lab in the home.
Charged with possession of methamphetamine.
I had no idea that there was a meth lab here.
From the state line to the airport, from Sprague in the valley to the far north side, meth labs were once as common here as gas stations.
And they were all over. We were processing between 3 and 4 labs a day.
Deputy Craig Chamberlain says at the height of the meth manufacturing boom, the county's team hit lab after lab, suited up in hazmat suits because the chemicals used to make the drug were so dangerous. This house on East DeSmet exploded in flames, sparked by a meth lab inside. A house so trashed, police nearly missed the baby sleeping in this infant seat.
The majority of these folks not only were putting themselves in their neighborhood in danger, they also had children inside the house, which was completely unacceptable.
In 2000, the county processed 137 meth labs. In 2001, that number jumped to 248. And in 2002, another 189 labs shut down in Spokane County. Cleaning up labs back then was so lucrative, geologist Kip Silver made a business out of it.
We first started out by just saying, hey, we're going to do meth lab cleanups, and that was it, because there was actually a fair amount of money in it.
Kip and his partners show up after police leave to clean up the mess left behind.
There's houses that I've been in that I couldn't get within 3 feet of the floor.
He's seen homes where people lived worse than animals would. The worst he's ever seen, this house in Meade, with a description not for the squeamish.
This place was trashed. I mean, it was absolutely terrible. Looked like there was food that had been there for at least 6 months to a year, rotting. On the outside of the bathroom, there was a skull and crossbones that said, "Do not enter, danger." We kicked the door and opened it up and saw inside that the toilet was full. Then we took a look, and the bathtub was also full and overflowing, full of human feces.
Not exactly a place you'd want to buy or rent, but people around Spokane are living in these former meth labs and may not even know it. Here's video of a lab bust in 1999. We knocked on the door last week. The renter had no idea. State law requires sellers to disclose the information, but we talked to the person who owns this Otis Orchards house today who had no idea about its past.
Most of them are people that are buying houses, rental houses, whatever it is, and they say, you know, I had the neighbors come over, they say there's been lots of activity day and night, and I think you're buying a meth lab.
So how in the world do you know for sure? The DEA recently published this list of properties that once housed drug labs. It includes this home now for sale in South Spokane. $134,000, recently remodeled. No mention of meth on the listing. But there's no doubt the DEA's database doesn't even come close to listing them all. There are only 29 listed in Spokane County. Remember, police were busting hundreds a year. A disclaimer on the DEA's own site acknowledges this list is not complete. The Spokane Health District keeps its own list of labs, which is much more complete. 341 properties, all at one time condemned until they could be cleaned. But even the Health District acknowledges it can't track them all.
And we don't know of all labs. We only know of the ones that the police department did some action at. There may be plenty out there that were a lab that nobody ever knew about.
So what can you do? Well, first ask your neighbors about your home's previous owners. If you have any suspicion, call the health district. Have them look up the property. Then call a company like Kip Silver's. They can test your home, and if it tests positive for meth, clean it, carpet to ceiling.
And we go ahead and pressure wash, scrub the entire house, the inside of it with a pressure washer, and then we scrub it with Simple Green and TSP. Pretty simple. We do that 3 times.
It's expensive, between $2,000 and $20,000 depending on the job. Most property owners cough up the cash in exchange for peace of mind and a clean deed on the home. Others say forget it and leave the boards on the doors and windows indefinitely. And remember that home on East de Smet with the fire and the baby inside? There's nothing but an empty field here now. Whatever the choice, it's better to know and know your family is safe from the dangers left behind by meth. Live now, it's hard to know exactly what chemicals could be left in some of these old drug houses and what the long-term health effects could be. Kip Silver points out not only are you possibly exposed to the dangerous chemicals from the drug, but also the bodily fluids, blood left behind from shared needles, and of course, in those worst cases, human waste. We want to help you find out if your property has been contaminated. You can call the health district first, and of course, the cleanup crews after that. We've put both numbers up for you on KXOY.com. Nadine?
Wow, some of those pictures make a person sick to their stomach, Melissa. Those are the old labs. What about the danger of new labs? Is this still a problem?
Well, Nadine, meth is still very much a problem in our community, but the labs, they really don't see very often, really only 1 or 2 a year. Most of the meth on the streets in Spokane is actually imported from Mexico, and there's a couple of reasons for that. First, the crackdown on law enforcement. If you got caught making meth, even one count, the minimum prison sentence is 5 years in prison. Also, neighbors like the ones we've talked to in this neighborhood got better at pointing out and knowing what those warning signs were, and they would call police right away. And of course, you know, you have to ask a pharmacist to get certain kinds of cold medicines at the store. That is all because of the meth crackdown.